Gauteng Finance MEC Lebogang Maile has tabled a 171 billion rand budget for Gauteng. This is a 2% increase from last year's 169 billion rand adjusted budget. Now, despite this hike, Maile has cautioned all departments to exercise fiscal discipline. Juniour Khumalo was at that briefing this morning and he joins us live in studio now for more. Juniour, good afternoon to you. It's very interesting, exercise fiscal discipline. What about exercising oversight and accountability on the money lost to corruption?
Indeed, Michelle. The one thing why he drilled down on exercising fiscal discipline was that some political parties were arguing that there's a lot of money that is spent. In total, over the next 3 years, it's going to be $500 billion that the province itself, Gauteng, is going to be spending. But a lot of people are saying we're not seeing where this is going. When you drive around in Gauteng, there's a lot of dilapidated buildings. The roads themselves are full of potholes. So that's what he was saying. Focus on fiscal discipline so that we see where this money is going. When it comes to the Gauteng budget, about 70% of it goes to education and health. But when it comes to the education facilities, just last month we heard the Department of Education in Gauteng saying that there are over 290 primary schools that are overcrowded. When it comes to high schools, there are 277 high schools that are overcrowded. So it doesn't make sense where this 60-something billion that goes to education is going. So he said to ensure that there is no irregular expenditure when it comes to the monies used, we need to exercise fiscal discipline. But you're right, oversight, that's one thing that he said that needs to start happening. In particular, when we spoke to the Premier of the province afterwards, because there are reports that about 2.2 billion was returned to National Treasury from last year's finances. But the Premier says that that figure is not 2.2 billion. It's actually just over 400 million when it comes to money that is going to be returned to National Treasury. And he said he's going to speak to the particular department that is offending, which is the Department of Human Settlements. This is a province where a lot of people don't have housing, and yet over 400 million is going back to National Treasury. So that's the form of oversight that the Premier is promising at this point.
So when we talk about 70% of our budget going to education and healthcare, as perhaps, you know, it should, just given the gaps in healthcare, and you've already pointed out the gaps in primary and high school education. But where is that money going, Juniour? Because year after year, we see the same issues. These are perennial issues that we cover as journalists. I mean, are we just paying at this stage for the upkeep and no progress?
The Premier asked the same question. Is there a discrepancy when it comes to the population that is counted and the actual population that is receiving these services? Because it always seems like despite how much is spent on education, on healthcare services, it's not enough. So he seems to believe that the numbers when it comes to States SA are not the right numbers that I think right now Gauteng is said to have about 15 million. He seems to believe that the numbers are actually way more than that. That's why we never see there being enough facilities when it comes to healthcare facilities or education facilities for the province. But speaking about those States SA numbers, we did hear the Finance MEC saying that because of the error that was made by States SA in 2022, when it comes to those numbers that we shared, the province had to pay a price because in the last financial year, national government actually gave them 6 billion more, taking into consideration those 2022 numbers that were released by States SA. But this time around, because those numbers were revised down, States SA, that money has been taken back by National Treasury. So that has left a shortfall when it comes to the monies that are going to the department. But it's still a lot of numbers. This year alone, the budget is about 171 billion. Next year, it's going to rise to about 175 billion. So there should be enough money if the money is used properly. But that is where it seems to be a challenge when it comes to oversight and making sure that the money goes to the right places. But let's take a listen to what Lebogang Maile had to say about the States SA era.
But there was also something we are raising in the statement, which does not sit well with us. In 2022, the States SA put or rather overstated our population numbers. Then we were given money based on those stats. 2 years later, in 2024, it was then discovered that those stats are not accurate. And as a result of that, we're losing 6 billion as a province. So we say in the statement that the money will be deducted for the next 3 years, starting with this year, which explains some of the reductions on the budget.
So, Juniour, all of that is incredibly important stuff. But I wonder whether the MEC, or even the Premier for that matter, would have come forward with a figure on how much money we're losing from the budget to something like corruption.
No, so we did not get a proper figure. There is no, it's not tabulated, I guess. We've seen a lot of reports when it comes to the corruption at the Tembisa Hospital, in other various departments, money lost to corruption. But there is never a figure that we get from the MEC for Finance when they do table such budgets. But the one thing that the Finance Minister and this current government are going to have a problem with is it's a minority government right now that is running Gauteng. They only have about 32 seats in that 80-seat legislature. So they need another political party to come and join the fold, whether it's the Democratic Alliance or the EFF. But we know Lesufi's relationship when it comes to the Democratic Alliance. There has been those utterances that he has made that he does not want him to go to governance with the Democratic Alliance, as well as at a national level he has bemoaned the ANC going into coalition with the Democratic Alliance. But it seems like they have found a partner in the Economic Freedom Fighters. They have 11 seats. So with the 32 seats, they have 43 seats. So enough to pass this budget. And Panyaza did say that they had spoken to the EFF. They were expecting the EFF leader, Julius Malema, actually to be in the legislature to just demonstrate that they are in support of this current budget. It seems like the stalemate at a national level is actually working in favor of the Gauteng government, because at a national level, the EFF is willing to work with the ANC. So demonstrating that willingness to work with the ANC at a provincial level is one way to go for the EFF when it comes to passing the national budget. But he had a few choice words to say about the DA. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
Why waste time on them? Because they don't want to engage, they don't want to work with us, they don't want to partner with us. They're still bitter that are not this government, they're childish, and they're behaving in a manner that we think that is destructive. But all other political parties in this legislature have engaged with us. So should we really worry about one party that is bitter, that is still childish?
And what do comments like this do for the government of national unity at a national level?
It's become a serious challenge when it comes to Lesufi's utterances about the DA, because even at a national level, the Democratic Alliance has pointed to the behavior of the ANC in Gauteng, saying that this is why we can't work with the ANC, because you are still behaving like you won the elections when you clearly did not win the elections. You're supposed to be amenable and work with every political party.
Yeah. To that point, you know, you talked about utterances made previously that the DA would not work with the ANC. Did the EFF also not say that it wouldn't work with the ANC?
Indeed. Even the ANC last year, the National Executive Committee of the ANC actually took a resolution that the EFF is not a good coalition partner, given all of the damage that was happening in Ekurhuleni, in the city of Johannesburg, as well as in Tshwane. So we did see even the EFF provincial chairperson being removed as the MMC for finance for Ekurhuleni. So there were those damaged relations. But now going into this budget, the EFF is willing to work with the ANC at a national level. So that is why they seem amenable to work with the ANC at a provincial level.